Hello everyone, welcome back to another AliceFiction video. This is Kilva here to talk about the Newbie Support Login Bonus Day 11 reward. So if you didn't already know, for our Day 11 reward on this login, we have a Selector ticket. So it's the Newbie Support Select 3-star character, and it's a ticket that lets you pick any 3-star character that you want to have from the starting 3-star characters. So this video, I'm going to be talking about how to best use that ticket, especially if you're a newer player. Now, just to preface, if you're an older player, then you probably have all of these units already, or if you don't, then you can just use this ticket to get, whoever you're missing. And so that's how I'm going to be using it, right? But let's take a look at what is on this ticket. So if you have to go to your mail in order to get the items, so after you log in, all of those items that you get from your login bonuses show up in your mailbox. So if you are trying to look for your Selector ticket and you can't find out where it is, it's probably in your mailbox still. So let's just receive that, accept that ticket. So it didn't actually accept my ticket when I so I guess I have to manually do that. Okay, so I guess when you open that ticket in your mail, you have to use and exchange it right away. So before you do that, the first thing I would recommend for you guys to do, and let's see when it expires. So it expires on the 31st. So we have a whole month, almost 2 months, before that ticket expires. But before you do that, we want to make sure that we optimize our ticket use. So if you have any 3-star character tickets that you still haven't used yet, I have 2 here. Probably best to use those first and then use your Selector ticket, right? And if you have any 3-star character fragments that you have added up to 10, then also use those as well. And if you intend to do any pulls on the collab banners right now, or the newbie step up banner, then probably best to get those out of the way first before you use your Selector ticket, just to optimize your chances of getting, all the characters that you actually want. So I'm going to be doing these 2 tickets first, see what we get. I'm only missing Selector on this account. I have all the other starter characters. And sorry if my voice is a little bit hoarse, I am a bit sick. So I actually intended to do this video earlier, before we actually got the ticket. Alright, so I got Archimedes, so that's a dupe for me. So the only other consideration that you would have, other than pulling for a character that you're missing, is if you already have all the characters, maybe you want to use it on a character that you can buff up with anima. Because we'll be having a update soon where we will have nodes past 5 stars in order to give the character additional stats. We don't have too many details about that system yet. And wow, I got Archimedes twice. So I guess I'll be really trying to buff up Archimedes in the future. But we'll have that anima tree later. I think that's what the feature would be called. And I'll probably have a video out on that when we get more details on it. But that's what you would consider if you already have all the characters. Alright, so now that I've done my pulls and I haven't gotten anyone new, the way you can tell, you probably already know who you're missing, but if you go into your characters, if you go all the way to the bottom, you can see exactly which characters you're missing. So Selector is the only character here that I am missing, and actually I can already unlock her. So any of the characters that are available on this ticket, you can actually exchange by purchasing their anima from the exchange store. So characters like Musashi, Lancelot, Archimedes, right, or Asclepius, Kenshin, QSH, or Joan, Amadeus, and Selector. All of those that are available on the Selector ticket, you can also exchange from the shop using those tokens. So they're all farmable characters. And then if you go to hard nodes, You can also farm the shards for the other characters like Ushi, right? So, you know, don't overstress or overthink about this 3-star character ticket. Any of these characters here, you are able to get from farming. So none of these are you know, exclusive or anything like that. You will get them over time eventually. So if you're an older player, you probably don't, you know, you don't even have to really think about this too hard. But if you're a newer player and your account doesn't have too many characters yet, then you probably would prefer still to get more meta characters. And so what I would suggest is QSH is the best character to exchange for currently. And the reason for that is because he's still meta. He's a physical defense debuffer. We pretty much use him every single team hunt, and in every single event where physical is used, he is still a top tier unit, and we pretty much, you know, he's going to be used in every single meta team comp that is going to be used for clears. So QSH is my top recommendation. If you already have QSH, then the next 2 characters I would consider would be Lancelot or Musashi. Both are strong DPS characters that are going to be used to carry your account. They're used in pretty much every single team hunt as well still, and they're both very strong. So the reason why Lancelot is strong is because her crash ignores defense and deals 20% extra damage. So she's really strong because of that, and it will continue to make her a viable unit in the future because it will scale well. Musashi is a good unit because of her utility from her skill 2, which gives panel breaking phase increase by 3 seconds. And we all know that if you have more time for panel breaking phase, then you are able to combo better, and comboing better means more damage output. And so that's why Musashi is really good and would be my second recommendation. So Lancelot or Musashi, both are strong. I have a stronger inclination towards Lancelot because if you already have QSH, and that's when I would start considering Lancelot or Musashi. If you have QSH already, then Lancelot synergizes with QSH because they need 2 or 3 Earth units in order to proc their passives. QSH needs 2 Earth units, and Lancelot needs 3 Earth units to proc. So, but they synergize well together. So if you already have QSH, then I would get Lancelot next. If you have both QSH and Lancelot, and you don't have Musashi, I would consider Musashi. What about other possible units? And you know, this isn't a hard, you know, if this then that, right? You can make your own decisions to decide what you can get because, again, as I said, all these units are farmable. Eventually you'll have them all. So just decide based on your account what you think would be most helpful for your account. The next units that I would also consider would be units such as Ushi. And the reason we consider Ushi is because she is really, really strong in PvP. She's core for PvP physical because she does AoE physical attack, whereas Musashi and Lancelot are single target. So Ushi is really good for PvP mode, and then she's also good for story mode if you're just trying to clear up the mobs, but in reality, in story mode, almost anything else can be used as well. For example, you can use Wayne Gang, which is a 2-star team comp, so we don't actually need Ushi for that. But if you are interested in PvP, Ushi is a really, really strong pick as well. So that would be my 4th choice for me. And then after that, you can also consider, I would consider a unit like Archimedes, and that's because she's a special attack type. So normally she's not really high up on my priority list, but she does target 2 units, and she is useful for special attack comps. And we did use her in one of our challenge events last month, so in January. If you have all of those, then the next character I would consider is probably going to be Joan, who is a decent buffer for physical teams, and she has a good passive for that. And then possibly after that would be somebody like maybe Longinus or Kenshin or Ross. Those would be units I would consider next. So the reason why you would pick Longinus is she's not really a good pick normally, but right now she's really good for the challenge events that we have for the Miku collab Nightmare King 3-star expert challenge. So Longinus is really good for that because she has type advantage. But again, you don't need to use her because Musashi can actually also clear with the exact same team setup as Longinus. And if you haven't seen or don't know how to clear that yet, check out my other videos where I present those team comps. So Longinus, pretty low on the priority list, but something you can consider. Kenshin, also pretty low on the priority list. She's a defensive unit, but she does have these buffs for defense on her skill 1 and 2, where she reduces damage taken to a unit. So this is really useful and was helpful in our New Year's challenge. And so without Kenshin, I wouldn't have been able to clear that New Year's Shrine challenge. So that's why, you know, she's also pretty useful, but again, it's pretty niche, just used in some challenge events. Otherwise, Ross is used in Wayne Gang. She's a 3-star variant, but you can also use 2-star Goat as well in Wayne Gang, so Ross is not necessary. But if you want a strong special attack buffer and you don't have New Year's Musashi, then this would be what we would consider next, right? So you can consider using her as well. For me, it's pretty low on the priority list. But you know, if you're newer and you already have QSH, you already have a physical team comp set up, then Ross could be considered as well if you want something to buff your special attack team. And then after that, we have units like Asclepius and Hippocrates. I would prefer Asclepius over Hippocrates, and these units are pretty low on my priority list, primarily because they're recovery units, and normally in most events or content we don't actually need recovery units. So that's why they're lower on my priority list. And if you do need them, a recovery unit, then we have 2-star Nightingale, who is actually pretty effective for most of the content that so far that we've needed to have a recovery unit. So low on my priority list. Asclepius I prefer over Hippocrates because Asclepius has a attack debuff cleanse as well as an AoE recovery skill. So her skill 1 allows her to recover HP for everybody. So that's why I would prefer her. Hippocrates is also pretty decent, but again, you just normally don't need to use them. She can remove all defense debuffs, but really, again, most of the time we just don't need to use recovery units, so they are really, really low on my priority list. And then we also have Surtur. Should have mentioned her earlier. She would actually fall somewhere towards the middle of my priority list, but obviously I don't have her, so I can't really speak much to her, but there is a good comp for her, and she's a good oil slayer comp, right? So you would use her in a burning and oil comp. So somebody like Antoinette, which is a 2-star character, would go well with Surtur. But I think Surtur is also pretty strong. I would probably put her in the middle priorities, somewhere probably along with Ushi. So QSH, Lancelot, or Musashi would be my priority picks. Then somebody like Ushi and Surtur. And then after that, you have your more niche picks, so stuff like Longinus, Kenshin, Archimedes. And then after that, you have Ross, Joan, and Amadeus, and then we have our recovery units. So Amadeus, I didn't talk about her, but I should. She was mostly used in PvP. Don't really use her that much. Really, her what makes her good is her skill bind. So if you have some kind of content where we need that skill bind, then she can be useful. So she has been used in some challenge comps before, but she's not been required, and there's been other ways to beat that boss as well. But she's also been used in PvP, specifically PvP defense, where sometimes she can skill bind the enemy's DPS unit, and then so they're not able to do enough damage. So she's used in some stall comps in PvP defense. But those are the units and my recommendations or my thoughts. Hope this video helps you guys. I'll be posting a more in-depth tier list video. I don't know, probably sometime next week if I feel better, but hope this video helps you guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and see you in the next video.